People have been renting and sharing places for decades now, but I think what was missing is the trust in that entire process. You know, when you're sharing a home, and that's I think one of the big decisions you make in your life, you don't want to be worrying about, you know, who that person is and can I trust them? What does this place look like? Is it the place that it's supposed to be? So Roomi takes that hassle of sort of trusting the place and the person out of the whole equation, and we do the job to make sure you actually find an amazing place and you can find the right fit to be your next roommate.
How do you do that?
So Roomi is a marketplace, and the way it works is if you have a room, let's say you have a spare room that you're renting out for a month or up to 12 months, you can go on Roomi, use one of our apps from App Store or Google Play Store or our website. And you can list that room just you would do, similar to Airbnb or any other platform. And we would ask you certain information around what the rent is, what the deposit is, tell us more about the place, tell us more about you and what you're looking for in your next roommate. And once that place is listed on Roomi, we do our job to make sure we verify that place, making sure it's actually a legit place or the place that exists by asking you for a lease or using our algorithms, machine learning and AI. And we do have a team 24/7 verifying all these rooms. The place is live now, and someone else who's now looking to rent out a room, to rent a place, they can go online, find one of these places, and once they find the right place, they can start reaching out to you on the app.
So the client is the lister. Your client is the lister. And Roomi makes revenues by taking a commission of the first year rent or first month, or how do you do that?
Yeah, we do take a small cut. So once you rent the place on Roomi, we take a small cut just like any other platform like Airbnb.
5, 10?
10%.
Okay. And so how do you, you've now have someone interested in this verified listing. Now, how do you further get them to feel comfortable with each other?
So one of the things we did at Roomi from day one is take a new approach and build everything from ground up. So instead of aggregating listings or rooms from any random place, we had our own user base list all the rooms on the platform. So that was the start of building a very verified structure or having our own rooms from real people.
So that means that your base is built on people who are willing to pay you a commission to find them a roommate they can get along with?
So we don't get a commission like that. But
no, but when they rent it.
When they rent it, yeah. But it's built on people posting instead of, we are taking the listings from some other place or landlords or any feed or aggregation sort of systems. So it's real people coming in Roomi, listing their place, and then we verify each and every place using machine learning AI and a team of professionals that work 24/7.
Do you ever go out and look at a place? I mean, you don't have to do that. I mean,
at scale, I think our systems can do it. They can verify a place without us visiting the actual place. But what we also do on the other side, when you apply to rent that place, we also verify all these people. And it starts with basic information like, Facebook verification or LinkedIn job information, but it goes beyond that to get your ID verified, get you a background check. So that sort of goes in extreme to make sure, hey, you're actually been verified now. And when you're reaching out to someone on the platform, it's now much easier because you're not worrying about that stuff.
What I was getting at is that by not aggregating, you are building a base of potentially serious customers. In other words, they're offering you a commission if you rent for them. So this is not just somebody going on there with no thought.
Yeah, but I think commission sort of comes after, right?
Yes.
I think, and you're right. What happens is if you have everyone verified, everyone is playing by the same rules, right? Everyone believes in building a much safer community. What that does now, everyone thinks, hey, that's something that we don't have to worry about, the trust part, or trusting people or sort of verifying people.
So how does it work? So the potential renter goes and meets the apartment or homeowner. And do they meet once or twice, or they decide, yeah, let's do it or not? Tell us what happens in the real world.
So you start by chatting. let's say I find a
yeah.
place that I really like,
Right.
and I check out your profile. Let's say it's a great roommate, and I want to sort of talk further. You can now start the communication on Roomi. It's all secure, and I would ask certain questions around, it's definitely available, but tell me more about yourself, maybe about the neighborhood, maybe about the place now. And if it all seems great, then we would probably fix a meeting or schedule something where I can go and see the place. Once you see the place, you discuss, of course, the details and when you're going to move in, or if you're going to move in. And when that happens, you go back to Roomi and finish that transaction on Roomi.
I'm just curious what happens behind closed doors. Do people meet once or twice? How often do they say, I don't know if I was comfortable with this person? What really happens?
I think if you sort of take Roomi out of the equation now, let's say, right? And you're meeting random people with no idea who they are, I think you would probably spend a lot of time in trying to find the right place and right people. But since we do so much of work up front, I think it's very straightforward, right? Because you can keep browsing people and keep browsing places. Once you find the right fit, then it's all about, do I really want to go and see the place? If you're going to go and see the place, or maybe a few places, you'll probably make a decision pretty quickly.
So people find places quicker through Roomi. What are your main selling points to renters?
One of the big ones we really focus on is trust. I think sharing economy depends on trust. You renting something on Airbnb or getting an Uber at Uber pool with random people, you sort of trust that they did the job to make sure everyone is safe and you've been verified. So Roomi took the same approach, right? I think trust is for us is a core for a company. And what we've done, not only do the ID checks and background checks, go beyond that, and we launch online bookings, that the payment system you've been talking about, right? And once you find a place right now, the whole where the money goes and how it goes is sort of a very gray area right now, right? I can give you the deposit, maybe I show up next day, and I don't know what's going to happen to it, right? But with Roomi, you sort of go back to Roomi and say, hey, I'm going to rent this on Roomi. So we would hold that deposit for a month, and we would keep it until you actually move in. Beyond that, what we will also make sure that we create good payment history, and so you can verify now a better tenant based on not just verification, but also payment history. So we launched Roomi Pay, where once you book a place on Roomi, you can start paying your rent every single month using Roomi Pay. Now what that does, you're adding the extra layer of safety and security. I can now see not only I like you as a roommate, and I trust you because you've done all the verification, I can also see you're someone who pays on time. I mean, that's a really big deal when you're looking for a roommate.
Why do you think real estate firms or banks didn't do this? This all seems like such a great, obvious service to start once you explain it. Yet here was this wide open market.
I've always believed that, my generation and the next ones are going to be sharing. This is something, a lifestyle change or a generational shift, you can call it. And the reason is now it's so expensive to afford to live by yourself. It's extremely expensive. So all you do is start sharing. And I think our generation values, experiences more than just like renting by yourself and then spending all that money on just rent. So I think people just didn't see the value early on that what's really happening, where we're headed as a generation. And I think now everything is shared, and I believe that it's going to be shared. And if it's going to be shared, we got to build new systems. Because the big problem that we found is the two people renting with each other. It's not that you're the landlord and I'm the tenant, right? If you go to a landlord, the landlord would know how to deal with a regular tenant. They would ask you for IDs, ask you for credit, ask you for payment information. They would make sure that you can pay on time and you're a good tenant. But now when two people are renting, but they're not landlords, they don't know how to act like a landlord. They just act like regular people who just believe in sharing and want to have a great time. So now we had to build and connect these systems to make sure, hey, we're going to take care of the trust. We're going to take care of the payment systems. We're going to build a whole new economy where you just go and find an amazing place and have a great time with these roommates.
See, that's so interesting, because what you describe is that you, Ajay, saw rising demand, a rising need, and the existing industry structure didn't see it because they're not you. They're not of your generation.
I have lived this problem myself for over a decade. And I thought I'm the only one. And I look around, all of my friends are renting and sharing. And I felt, this is not us, but it's more than us. So many millions of people are now struggling to sort of find a place that they can share with other people.
So what do you do now? How do you grow Roomi? Where do you go from here?
We're just getting started. We're building the first layer of sort of the trust layer and the share economy. And what we do now is focus on one city at a time. So, I mean, we believe there's 20 plus cities around the world that is going to sort of form 80% of our market.
How do you, Ajay, prevent somebody from copying you in those other 19 cities? What can you do?
There are sites who offer similar services, and I think it goes back to your core values, what you really believe in. And there are random websites that you can go today and list a place, and I can bet you that would get approved instantly, without no one really caring about if it's a good place, if it's a bad place. On Roomi, our approval rate is around 80%. That means 20% of the rooms posted never makes it to the platform.
So unlike most companies, you can boast of a high disapproval rate.
If you say so.
Right?
I think it's really about, we care so much about trust. And so we know that over time, when just everyone wants to join Roomi, because this is the least of their worries that, hey, what if I find a bad place? What if I sort of get in a bad situation? So we can compete using our trust with any company out there, because it's just so hard to build it. And it requires data collection, right? I mean, we've been looking at data and processing the data for the past few years. So to really analyze everything using machine learning or AI, you need a lot of data. So we can use our data as something that other people won't have once you start the company. I mean, you don't have any data when you start a company.